Starting off at 4 o'clock, we're going to take a live look over parts of our state. Dust off those jackets and boots. It's finally starting to feel like winter in Colorado. A storm is dumping snow in parts of the state and is expected to continue through the night. Here's what it looked like up in Fort Collins as it began moving through the state. All that snow is expected to create some slick driving conditions, especially for tomorrow morning and that commute.
You know, we've said this once before, it's finally starting to look like winter in Colorado. And then what happened after that snow, Kathy? We got like 60s and 70s. What do you think about this time?
Well, not 60s and 70s, but we will go back to the 50s. But for now, we're seeing a break from the snow drought and the fire weather. And let's hear it for stock show weather. It is cold. It's been snowing off and on all day. And that was just storm system number one. Right before I came out, I just grabbed a handful of totals to give you an idea of what's going on. Official weather station at DIA has ½ an inch. Out in Parker and down to Castle Rock, 2 to 3 inches. Long's Peak coming in with almost 7. Steamboat did well. Berthoud Pass with 3. Again, I just grabbed a handful. I'll keep trying to update those. A little lull in the action. We're seeing a little break from the snow, which is timed well for the evening drive, but more snow's coming tonight. Another inch or 2 in Denver, another 3 to 4 in Castle Rock, Littleton, Conifer, and Evergreen. We have one system pulling away and another one headed into the southwest. So these are advisories for travel that will remain in effect through tomorrow morning, not including Denver, but those of you traveling south through Castle Rock, across Monument Hill, Palmer Divide, you could run into some winter driving conditions late tonight and early tomorrow morning. We've been holding in the low to mid 30s for much of the day. Radar showing a nice little band of snow outside of Colorado Springs and Lyman. More moisture coming into the western slope. Not much happening in Denver right now, but it's coming back. Futurecast will show that snow starting to fill in around 11 o'clock tonight, overnight through about 5, 6 in the morning. Then drier air works in and the heavier snow bands shift south. If you're going in or out of DIA late tomorrow morning or early in the afternoon, I don't expect you'll have any trouble because skies will be clearing by then. Temperatures are going to hold in the 30s with light snow picking up around midnight. Weather headlines, more on the mountains, travel advisories, and then we'll look ahead to the weekend. Why not?
Absolutely, why not? It's never too early. Nope. Kathy, thank you. We want to head outside to meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen now, who's been chasing the snow for us. Not that he really needs to chase it, no. Corey. You're in the foothills, and I can see there is at least some snow on the ground behind you.
Yeah, Phil, isn't it nice? I mean, at least looks like winter around here. Some nice snow cover across Golden and much of the Front Range. We've got about a ½ inch on the ground out here. You know, there's not a lot of water in this. In a ½ inch, we got a couple hundredths of an inch of water. But think of how big of an area got covered by this just little bit of dusting. It's going to make a huge difference in just getting that little bit of moisture in there. Now we're in a bit of what I would call a lull right now. We're in between storms is what's happening. There's another system coming in after this one, and the ground is going to be much colder this time around because the snow will come in the dark of the night in the coldest hours into tomorrow morning. So right now it's going to be a while. You can tell I'm actually seeing big patches of blue sky above me here in Golden. So it could be several hours before we see that anything more significant out of this, but that should come. I think Kathy was just saying maybe 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock tonight it'll start to fill in, and that's what we're expecting to happen. So if you have any driving to do overnight hours, early tomorrow morning, be aware, even though we have a lull now and there's not a lot on the ground, that we could have some pretty big impacts, at least isolated throughout the metro area tomorrow morning. But for now, live in Golden, I'm meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen for the 9 News Weather Impact Team.
All right, Corey, thank you. Now we want to get right to this story that has caught the attention of the entire nation. Protesters are outraged, and it's growing. Their tension in the streets after an ICE officer shot and killed a woman. This happened in Minneapolis yesterday.
Yeah, Renee Good, who grew up in Colorado Springs. This shooting happened just a day after 2,000 federal agents arrived in the city as part of President Trump's immigration crackdown. Today, people marched along city blocks as the protests grew throughout the day against that deadly shooting. Renee Good was 37 years old. Video shows 2 agents approaching her SUV. We paused that video before any shots were fired because it's really hard for so many viewers to see. The car reverses and then starts pulling forward. That's when the agent at the front of the car draws his gun and fires. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem defended the agent, saying he followed his training and claimed the woman tried to run him over. But Minnesota's Democratic Governor Tim Walz referred to the incident as a, quote, brazen use of force. He criticized what the state claims is the federal government's decision to exclude a Minnesota agency from its investigation.
Yesterday, the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, the BCA, spent the day yesterday attempting to get that accountability. We have learned that the Trump administration has now denied the state that ability to participate in the investigation. And I just want to make this as clear as possible to everyone. Minnesota must be part of this investigation.
Walz called on federal authorities to work with state and local officials to de-escalate tensions in the community. Meantime, Nome has said she is not opposed to sending more federal officers to Minneapolis.
Prosecutors filed dozens of felony counts today against a former Arvada high school teacher accused of photographing and filming students and others. Some depicted boys as young as 12 and some of them engaged in sex acts. Patricio Llanes was told in court he faces 40 felony counts of sexual exploitation of a child. Prosecutors also filed 10 separate misdemeanor charges accusing him of unauthorized practice of psychotherapy. The sessions with students and others included the use of hypnosis. Llanes is due back in court January 20th. Lakewood police are searching for a group of kids they believe may have brutally attacked a man right outside of his home. The incident happened on New Year's Day on South Fenton Street, just off of West Florida Avenue.
Family members say the 58-year-old is still in the ICU with a severe head injury. 9 News reporter Jaleesa Rosari spoke to the victim's niece, who's hoping for a break in the case.
A new year brought a new feeling to this Lakewood neighborhood, an emotion Crystal can only describe as...
It is scary to think he's going to have to go back to that house, and traumatizing, to be honest.
That fear is why Crystal will only share her first name and her voice for this story, a story she wishes she didn't have to tell.
You know, it's just shocking for this to have happened in front of his own home and for no real reason that we know of.
On New Year's morning, just before 7 a.m., Lakewood police responded to South Fenton Street. Investigators believe a 58-year-old man was assaulted outside of his home by 6 to 8 juveniles, both women and men. The victim was taken to the hospital, and Crystal says that's where her uncle Steve remains.
So his head had been split open by blunt force trauma. He said they hit him with a bat. Everyone I talked to that lives around there says they just have no idea why someone would do this to him.
Crystal says her uncle is in the ICU, but able to communicate. She says all he remembers is a group of kids kicking something in front of his yard.
He just went out and asked them not to mess with his things, and the next thing he knew, it was black.
Lakewood police say the suspect may have left in a light-colored SUV. Cameras cover the doors and some of the roofs of this neighborhood, and when we asked authorities if any captured the incident or the suspects, they refused to answer.
I want someone to go to jail for this.
Crystal believes someone knows something and hopes they come forward. While she waits, she does so feeling something else, thankful.
I'm just grateful that he's in the hospital recovering and not me planning a funeral.
We also asked Lakewood PD if they believe this incident was random, if there were any witnesses, and they said they could not comment at this time. They're urging anyone with information that could help identify the suspects to contact Metro Denver Crime Stoppers. Jaleesa Rosari, 9 News.
Yeah, Jaleesa, it's an awful story. I hope someone does contact Crime Stoppers. Thank you.